The question about why do children get sick? Everybody gets sick. The sick part is the resolution, and it's the part that came before. In other words, there was an exposure to something, either a toxin or an emotional, psychological, or some trauma in the family or person's life, or some kind of exposure to some toxin. I keep reiterating this. The observation that because people in the same place get sick in the same way, and sometimes it's one after another, somehow that proves contagion, is absolutely ridiculous thinking. And if you want an example of that, the one I gave the other day was, imagine you had hundreds of rats in your basement, and somebody came along and without your knowledge, put a whole bunch of rat poison in your basement. Now, every day from then on, first day you would see one dead rat that bled to death. Second day, 3 dead rats that had bled to death. Third day, 20 dead rats, all bled to death, and so on. In other words, one after another, day after day, you see illness, exactly the same symptoms, i.e. bleeding to death, in this case they died, in organisms in the same place. According to this reasoning, that therefore that proves contagion, they must have had a virus or some contagious disease. That is absolute nonsense. It's obvious that what happened is they were poisoned, and it maybe one rat after another ate more of it until they ended up having a threshold and then died. Now, if you could say, well, but that's a situation where you know what the poisoning is, and in the situation you're talking about of children getting sick, you just may not know what the toxin is or what the stimulus is. But just because you don't know it, and your doctor certainly doesn't know it because he doesn't even know how to look or where to look, doesn't mean there isn't one. What about toxins in the air? What about emotional situations in the family? What about electromagnetic fields near the school? All these things have an effect, and the body responds to the essentially the toxic effect by dissolving the gels which were interfered with and pushing that out as mucus. And that's what we call being sick. And it often affects families in the same time, in the same place, just like the rats, just like scurvy, just like beriberi, and hundreds of other situations.